The following program is sponsored by The Greek, Ely's Radio Shack dealer, 570 Altman in downtown Ely, and brought to you as a public service by Georgetown Media in Ely, Nevada. Regional Transportation Commission meeting, January 10th, 2022.
Ready, Lindsay?
Yes.
All right, we'll call the Regional Transportation Commission meeting of January 10th to order. Roll call. Here. Jim Allworth there.
Richard Howe here. BJ Elmberg here.
Oh, Lindsay Jacobson.
You got them all.
Yeah, I got everyone.
Okay. We'll forego the pledge of allegiance. Item number 2, the comments from the public. George? Any?
Yeah, I didn't get anything from you last time, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to give you a reminder, your clock is ticking. On Avenue C and 7th Street, Gray Basin Boulevard, you forgot to put in a drop inlet, which is supposed to be installed along with curb and gutter to protect that street with the NDOT project. That hasn't happened. I haven't heard anything since then. Also, Mr. Chairman, the railroad crossing where North Street turns into C, the NDOT project has installed fence posts within the railroad right-of-way, which will impede a train or other device going down the tracks. That fencing needs to be removed. It's also built with barbed wire, city code violation. I don't know who inspected that job, but you need to tell somebody to get their head out. I reported to City Council and let's see, I told you about the fence. I've yet to hear whether you folks have told Mount Wheeler that they have to move some of their poles on the Murray Street project. You don't have ADA access, and some of the installation, once you access the ADA ramp, you can't turn left or right. Who engineered that project? You better look at that again. Mr. Chairman, the NDOT project did not put a meter pit on the water tap for my property, 733 Great Basin. They did on others. When I asked Ed Burnett, from Q&D, why it wasn't installed, he told me Basin Engineering told him not to put it in. I want equal protection under the law. I asked for months where that shutoff was. It took months to put the one on the lower piece of property. I want to put in on 733, just like you did on everybody else. Mr. Chairman, at the corner of Gray Basin, Campton Road was not widened to meet minimum city code with street width requirements. Again, we have rules or we don't. The Copper Queen is piling snow on the corner of their property. That snow is melting. The water is flowing onto the sidewalk, causing a slipping hazard. I've told you guys that for years. Again, either we have rules and regulations or we don't. We need to address that or find somebody who can. I've not heard anything on the ingress egress on Highway 93 off of Avenue D. The road's way too narrow, doesn't meet city code. Again, you have rules and regulations or you don't. I need some answers. That's all for now.
Thanks, George. I just received correspondence just a minute ago from Mr. Beecher finally concerning the question on the minutes. RTC scribe working on 2 projects, phase 2 projects, and the Murray Street Sewer Project and the Murray Street Road Project. While there was discussion about parts of the road project and internal timelines, the clearest part of the motion was to extend the deadline to the Murray Street project to December 1, 2021. Therefore, any part of the Murray Street Road project that extended beyond December 1st, 2021, unpaid is in violation of contract subject to any penalties provided for in the contract. So I think you guys can
Yeah,
get
we'll
together with
do
us.
it based on.
We got it December 1st. Okay, discussion for possible act, possible suspension of contract working meeting for Murray Street project, suspension for 90 days for final. Okay, Casey, I think, where we at on it?
Pouring the last valley gutter tomorrow, waited for good weather, and we're pouring it tomorrow, heat and water with, using hot water, BJ knows that, and we have the one, we got it prepped and ready to go, we're putting rebar in it today, it's all saw cut and dug down, we're pouring that, and then pretty much all we gotta do is raise the little valve cans, that's it. Close to done.
Yeah, because I mean, we're supposed to have, what, 7 days?
Good
Fairly
weather.
Good weather,
Yep.
so.
Yep, everything's been dug out. BJ's had Charlie up there taking pictures. Everything's been dug out past 30 inches, rebased, recompacted on the valley gutters now that we're pouring. And when we poured last week, everything else is covered over and blanketed. I think we'll pull blankets on the other ones, the other sidewalk pieces probably tomorrow or Wednesday, and keep these blanketed for 5 to 6 days. And we're down to raising a few little valve cans.
BJ, anything?
No, I mean, that's the major items that will still need to be done. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of quite punch list items probably that need to come in and we'll fix little things here and there, but that's one of my big concern is I don't wanna go out and do a punch list out there in the snow and everything else because, you know, we just don't get to see everything, you know, it's gonna be a while before everything melts off and so, I feel comfortable about what you got on the agenda here. Hey, let's put that off so we can do that in the spring when it's really proper time to do it. And, you know, he is correct, you know, we basically made sure one of the big concerns was about the cold weather concrete or whatever, and so, you know, Charlie's been just checking and making sure that concrete temperatures when they hit the street have been, I think, 61, 62 degrees, from the batching, so. That's, you know, one of the major things is making sure that we have cold weather concrete, and they've been able to heat their water and do the things that they need to do.
So what you're saying, then there's no need for the 90-day suspension?
Other than recognizing I won't come back and do the punch list
BJ
for
wants a
90
punch
days.
list afterwards,
Yeah.
when he can
So-
see the roads, which is understandable.
Yeah.
Engineer needs to look at it.
Okay, so we can maintain on this and do the punch list after you guys have completed the work during this 90 days or after this 90 days is up? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what you want, you put us into the springtime, there's a lot more weather, and if there's problems, then they can address it then. And
Yeah, we can do a bunch of
better
different job
feel
of
what-
walking the
better
project,
look at what's
yes.
going on there.
So that valve group you're talking about, Casey, that's one of the main valves?
Valve cans to turn on, yes.
Okay.
And it's gonna be pretty damn easy because whoever put that water line in, I think the top of the valve's they're only 14 inches deep. So all we literally gotta do is tear the asphalt out and the base and they're pretty much right there.
Okay.
And then, you know, you just pour a little ring concrete around them, but they have a
Manholes.
design for that, yeah. And around the manholes, so.
What about all the cleanup at the Y up there?
That'll be done this week. Everything will be hauled out of there. We just got the last valley gutter dug out, so we only wanted to haul for one day. So we'll get the city property all cleaned up and all the shit moved off of there this week.
Good.
And that will be, we're waiting until tomorrow to pour, just because it's warmer temperatures tomorrow. So we'll have it already covered, blanketed, heated, and then they'll pour tomorrow and then blanket. And I contacted the sheriff's department, fire department last week, so they know the road's blocked off. That'll be the last road that gets blocked off, because we can contain little valve cans just with a sign and a blanket.
Pending access to the
Yep,
street.
To the street.
I don't know if all the snow's been removed from the,
They did
Middle.
it, yeah, the city got it last week, they pretty much got everything cleaned up, so that helped a lot too. That road's so narrow, that they don't have much places to go.
So I don't see it listed, but it's during this item. Are we gonna do anything with the letter from the district attorney on the December 1st?
I think I will use this letter to compile all the work based on December 1st,
Okay.
from his clarification.
To completion date, right, or to whatever we've got going right now?
Yes.
Or not to the end of the 90 days?
Well, 90 days aren't, there's no penalty.
Yeah, I think what I really want to be specific about is that we're not going to continue to look at additional days of a penalty, if there is any, during this 90 days, so this 90 days would be nil. So we would look at the December 1st to completion date, and then these guys, the contractor and the engineer would come back to us and list all their change orders, whatever they got on there, and then we as a board, after the 90 days, and correct me if I'm wrong, after the 90 days, would get together and utilize the December 1st deadline to completion and find out what if any, additional, penalties or whatever's on there. Is that right? Is that
I think
on the right
that
track?
the deadline is gonna be cut off when you're done with your last.
Well,
valve
finished,
grinder.
right.
Right.
And then
Once he's
valve
finished
at
the
that-
project.
yeah. And so if that's Thursday, that's
Correct.
the.
That's the date, then that's the day we'll count from December 1st.
That's what I was getting at, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, once he's finished with this project, then the 90 days will be implemented.
Mhm, yeah.
Yeah,
So we go around, take down his phone number, call him for the complaints.
No,
All right.
we'll leave that up to the city. Take care of that.
Lots of luck.
I'll make the motion to, go with item number 3, 90-day shutdown, suspension for 90 days.
It,
9 days completion after the,
After he's done this week.
right, okay, yeah, I didn't
Okay,
get
thank
that,
you.
so, yeah,
So just to clarify, nothing gets finalized until after you guys do your punch list?
right.
correct.
No change orders, no?
No, we can work through all the change orders and all that stuff
Okay.
up through there.
That, so that
Yeah.
still moves forward?
Yeah.
The only thing that'll suspend is the 90 days for you guys to do your final punch list
Yeah,
inspection?
so we'll,
Okay.
please, let's get all the change order stuff, all that stuff.
Retention will sit until you guys 100% sign off on it
Correct.
in 90 days, okay?
That being said, and that clarification being done, I'll second the motion.
Okay, have a motion?
I second it.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
I said, with the
Okay,
clarification.
one second for the discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anything from the board members report? Chat about?
Nothing to report on my side.
Mine either, I'm just happy that it's finally, that it's getting completed and the citizens are able to utilize their road and everything's going good except for small things, but I think, I'm happy that Murray Street's done and it'll be a nice passable road from start to finish. We can move forward with other projects that are on our list.
I would like to add that thank you for helping out, getting her the information she needed for the financials.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Of course, it was
Yeah.
a report, not a payment that I was missing.
Pardon me?
It was a report, not a payment that I
Oh,
was
but
missing.
when, that day I went there, they were ready to pay it that day anyway, so, yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, entertain a motion to approve the minutes of December 21st. Any corrections, Mr. Allworth?
Yeah, I'd just like to add, I think if she went back and listened maybe a little closer, I made a comment in there about liquidated damages. It's not all, can be all tied to weather. You know, liquidated damages are $500 a day, but if you have a 6-man crew working, liquidated damages would be a lot less money than paying overtime, say on a weekend. So, again, a smart businessman can figure this out quickly. What's $2,400 versus $500? You know, because as we get through this, you know, there's a lot of weekends you never work. I'm not saying that's what it is, but don't base everything, in my opinion, on weather or whatever like that. But it needs to be, and I left my minutes at home, but I think you went back and I made a little spiel on that about liquidated damages can be related to not wanting to work. It's cheaper to pay liquidated damages versus overtime. That was it. And then, just a real tiny thing, she has it in here one time, the WPC road department, wherever the road department is mentioned through this here, I think you should quantify that by putting White Pine County, because we have a road department too in the city. And I went through that at home, which I left it at home, there's only a few places in there. They're right there on the last page, road department. The rumor control on there, but other than that, I think they looked good job.
Thanks.
Got all that, Lindsay?
Yeah, and you can just send me your corrections when
Okay.
you
Yeah,
get
I'll just do
back. Yeah.
Any other corrections? Not? Any motion to approve them?
So moved.
Second.
For discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, you need us for, Mr.
That's
Cameron?
all, young man.
All righty, sir.
See you later.
Okay, and then you know we're pouring tomorrow, so
Okay.
you got that for Charlie or whoever you're sending.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
See you
guys.
later.
See ya.
That's public comment, George, anything else you need to bring up there, young man?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, on
Mr.
November,
Chairman, as long as Mr. Chassis is coughing, he needs to cover his face. He's spraying his whole room with who knows what.
I got a cold.
Yeah,
But I'll
he's
put on
had
the
this
mask.
cold for 10 years. But, you know, you need to not sit there and cough all over Richard House. He's coughing among his head.
Nothing's gonna hurt him,
Thank you for being healthy.
not a problem. Mr. Chairman, back on November 4th, 2021, I requested a complete list of parking permits from the city of Ely, that the city of Ely and NDOT has given out for those along Great Basin Boulevard. In particular, the area of the new courthouse, the jail, sheriff's office, Ely Fire Station, Bristol Motel, Copper Queen Ramada, just to name a few. I'm being denied access to my property. I can't park on the west side, yet on Avenue D, there's no permitting there, there's no curb cut or sidewalk, and yet you're allowing someone other than myself the privilege. On the other side of the same area, parking, where's the permit? Or we just create the permit thing just for Old George? Copper Queen, parking behind the sidewalk, I didn't make the rules. I want equal protection under the law. Mr. Chairman, I told you previous meetings of a memo that I put out June 26, 1991, when I was mayor, regarding handicap access on all corners. That includes the Murray Street project, let alone the Altman project that NDOT has done. Once you access that apron, you should be turning left or right. You don't have that option. It does not meet minimum ADA specs. I want you to look at that, and they need to be put on notice. I've told the state engineers, I've told Mr. Howe, I'm telling the board again, we need to address that. On the west end of my property, I was able to park there at one time. That's the photo at the beginning. They put a utility box on the corner. Now I got a 1-foot drop. Once a person walks off my parking lot, they don't step down 6 inches, they drop down a foot. That's a liability that I've been put on, and I'm not gonna stand for it. You need to tell the state to get their head out. You need to tell your engineers to get their head out. I didn't make the rules, you guys did. That's a federal regulation, not mine. That's all I have at this time, but I want some answers, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, anything else? That's the time I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
You guys are pretty quick on that.
With BJ, I
Wasn't
was
much
looking
discussion about that.
No discussion. I really want to get on this.
Oh, yeah,
no,
See
veto,
what
10:30,
we do.
so-
And I don't know when the water, do you know when the water board meets?
Yes.
The water board meets
You
on
need
the
copies
first
of these
Thursdays,
photos.
I mean, the first, second Thursday of the month.
Just copy the last minute,
First,
Yeah.
second Thursday?
the same stuff all the time.
Well, the second Thursday, of the month, I guess. Okay, I mean, I guess it's the first city council meeting, is the same day as the first city council meeting, which is
For
the
the
second.
most part.
Yeah, I do that, I just don't think about that agenda. And then, like, get the ball rolling and see what we're gonna do.
I don't know how I got volunteered for this, like I know Naomi did it, but like, did she volunteer for this? Cause it was not in my job description.
Usage.
Did they have a line and other
yes.
Compared to.
No.
I haven't compared
You
to
could be
other
driving
folks.
a snowplow.
You don't get that or Randy.
Oh, Martin's already made comments that he wants me to learn how to drive the plow so that he can call me out. Tom was like, no, there's a reason I wasn't a haul truck driver, I'm not driving.
Hey, tell them thanks.
So if we stay on
They did a great
the
job
same
of Duck
water,
Frisbee and East Creek and Kalamazoo.
I will, yeah, no, we've gotten a lot of comments, I've been super
This has been a Georgetown production. George Chachis reporting.